Greetings all. So this is my first attempt at a wonderful video for you, so I hope it works. The whole point of this is to get you used to using Google Docs. I figure it's going to be something that we're going to try and use in class a lot and something that you're going to be able to use in college um, for a multitude of reasons. First off, you can see here you can comment on other people's documents. You can share other people's documents. You know, this is me. And it's a pretty powerful tool. You've got most of the stuff here that you have on the Microsoft Suite. The only deal is this is free. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to name this. We're going to name it by clicking up in the top left corner. We'll call this, might as well, annual temperature over the past 100 years. And there you go. So now I've got a nice name on my graph or on my table, and I'll show you how we're going to turn it into graphs. And this is very similar to Excel. So what we're going to do, I have already pulled up some data. I mean, this is Austin, Texas, just for comparison. I just want to show you guys how we're going to be graphing a lot of our data. So here's data. You've got the year on the left, and you've got the annual temperature on the right, and this is in degrees. I'm going to call it Fahrenheit, although they don't exactly say. So, you know, we can go all the way down to 2013, and, you know, we're not there yet, but, you know, we can go back. So what I'm planning on doing is, I know it said over the 100 years, but you'll get the idea if I just start in 1971. So what we'll do is we're going to basically go between two different screens, and I can show you. You can click, if you have Windows 7 or Windows 8, you can click this tab, pull it off, snap it to the right side of the screen, and click it, pull this tab off and snap it to the left side of the screen, minimize, and now you've got what you're doing on the right and what you're constructing on the left. So, you know, I'm going to be looking at year and then temperature. I wish I could type as good as I thought I could. T-E-M-P-E-R-T-U-R-E. And this is going to be a very simple exercise. 1971, 1972, 1973, 1974, 1975, 1976, 1977, 1978, 1979, 1980, 1981, 1982, and you can even do this a little quicker by highlighting a few, and when it turns into a plus, if you put your cursor over this little corner here, as it turns into a plus, it will continue whatever you were doing. So I don't have to type all the way down to 1995. I can type, you know, I can bring us up all the way to 2002. So let's do that. We'll start with that for today, and I can start in 1971. I'm looking at the average temperature, which is this last column from way above 69.6. Then 1972 was 68.4, 67.4, 67.8, 67.8, 67.5, 66.2, 68.7, 67.0, 66.2, 68.9, 69.3, 69.1. I'm going to go ahead and fill the rest of this in. You guys don't have to watch me and be bored. So I'm going to pause this for now, and when we come back, it'll all be done. And just like that, everything's all done. Isn't that wonderful? So at this point, I've got all this data, and you guys can use time data, you can use length data, you can use distance data, you can use any data that we take in class. But, and you can, of course, go ahead and graph this by hand. You can graph it, honestly, however you really feel like it. But I've always found, again, that using Google, you know, the free stuff that Google offers is pretty good. So what we're going to do next is we're going to make a graph, and you can highlight the data that you're looking to graph, and I'm not sure what's going to be on the x-axis, what's going to be on the y-axis, but it's very easy to fix that if you don't like it. And then we can say we're going to make a graph, and the question is, how do we do that? And once upon a time I knew. Insert chart. So at this point, I don't need this anymore. I can minimize that guy. I'm going to snap this to the top. And there we go. So my chart title, start. We are going to do a line chart, I guess. So when you click the chart that you want to actually make, this is the start menu, and we can use the first row as headers, which is good because our first row is year and temperature. And the next piece of this is we can actually go ahead and switch the rows and columns if we get motivated, but we'll do that in a second. So we actually don't want a bar graph, which is what this is defaulting onto. We want a scatter plot, which is really where we're going here. All right, and I hope this kind of makes a little bit of sense to us. Where you've got the years on the bottom on the x-axis, and then that's the independent variable that is going to be what causes the change. As time goes by, the assumption is that the temperature will be changing. And on the y-axis, you're going to have the dependent variable, which, you know, from year to year, as time marches forward, the temperature is going to change. And if you have issues with this, you can go back and look up how to make graphs, especially scatter plots. But this is how we've been doing it. Typically, especially in physics, time is the independent variable, and something else is changing based on that time, be it speed or direction or a lot of other things that we're going to be making calculations on. But as you can see here, it's pretty cool. All of our data, all of our temperatures are shown as a function of time here. So we're going to say, cool, that's good. Now we can customize it, and we can call the chart, we can name it, I don't know, annual temperature in, where was it, Houston or Austin since 1971. Ta-da, done. And we can change the color, we can change all kinds of good stuff here. But we can just insert it, and there's some other fun stuff that we can actually figure out going forward. So we'll go ahead and insert this. And Google's contemplating its existence, and there it is. So we can make it bigger, and you can actually right-click on this, and you can change some different things. We can change how big it is. We can change the title. We can give it a legend. We can deal with the axes. We can change the type of chart, but it will keep the data sort of in line. And most importantly, we can do something called the advanced edit. And what I'm looking for is a trend line. All right, so after trying to figure all this out, I'm seeing that you actually can't add a trend line into a Google Doc, which is really frustrating. But at least you can get the idea that you can graph and plot some good stuff in here. If you do want to add a trend line, there is a way to do it, but you have to go back into Microsoft. And what you do is you're going to copy what you had, open up Microsoft Excel. You're going to go ahead and paste it, and there we are. And then what we can do is we can go back and do the graph. And you know, this is Office 2003, but I know Office 2007 and even Office 10 and all that good stuff are pretty similar in this. And what you do is make the graphs just like we've always, you have always done. The x-axis is going to be year. The y-axis is going to be temperature, and next, and then we can have it, and we'll finish it, and there you go. And what we can do now is we can right-click within here, and we can just add a trend line. and we're going to say it's a linear trend line, not a logarithmic or a power, although as we go through, we will be using, there will be some equations that we'll be using that are logarithmic or exponential or power growth. So bear in mind with that. But there you go. You've got that nice trend line. If you really want to, you can highlight it. You can, if you hit format the trend line, we can make it display the equation on the chart. So, you know, if you wanted to know what the linear function of the temperature is, it would be y equals this x plus or minus 59.9. And anybody who, if you're looking at it since 1970, anybody who says that the temperature is going down is not looking at cold hard data, because you can clearly see a positively sloped line. So that's it. In terms of just, hopefully this video helped. I'm sorry that I went through Google and tried to make a trend line. If we need a trend line, or if you want to see a trend line, here's how you do it in Excel. If you're just looking to sort of see what's going on, you can definitely use Google Docs to play with it. If any of you can do some research on it and get us a way to do a trend line through Google Docs, that would be really, really helpful. You know, for right now, Google Docs is good for just showing the data. Maybe Excel is still good for actually, you know, presenting it and manipulating it a little bit more. But for our purposes, most of the stuff we'll be able to do will be done in Google Docs. And if you want to print it, obviously, you know, the little printer icon there. So I hope this helped. If you have any questions, please ask me in class or shoot me an email. All right, take care.